does your landscaping like frosty winter weather? Plants wither or die, or worse, they shrivel and they barely cling to life.
There's no point in pretending you're not going to be out in your garden the first warm second of spring, so why not take the time to clean it up right now? To get us headed in the right direction with the winter cleaning and spring preparation, Mary Cummings with RCW Nurseries joins us. Good morning, Mary.
Good morning.
So I look around and I've noticed my trees are kind of out of hand and looking shabby. How can I make them look better?
I would advise you hire a professional tree company to come out and trim your trees. If your trees are very small, you might be able to handle it yourself, but the bigger the tree, the harder the job is.
Well, let's talk about those smaller, like decorative trees we have around the house.
More
Or
like
say bushes.
shrubs.
Yeah, shrubs and things like that.
It's actually a little bit early to be pruning them.
Okay.
If you cut them like azaleas now, you'll be cutting the flowers off.
So we want to wait. If we're looking at our calendar, when do we want to mark the calendar for that, Mary?
It's going to depend on the variety. And if anybody has any questions, they're more than welcome to call the nursery or email us, and we can tell them whether or not they should be pruning.
What about crepe myrtles?
February.
February. Okay, yeah,
All
I
right.
thought that was
So
coming
we're
up.
down. That's next week. So
Yeah.
All right. So plants need soil. What can we do now to prepare our soil for the spring?
Before you prepare the soil, what you want to do is take a long, hard look at your yard and make some decisions about what you want your yard to look like this year. If you decide you want a major overhaul, you should start with a good plan. If you're just going to work on little sections at a time, taking out the dead plants, turning the bed over, and mixing in lots of compost is a good one-weekend job.
For my lawn person.
That's right.
Not for me. Well, what
right.
about the ugly dead patches? You know, it seems like we really are having more seasons in Houston these days, and I see lots of ugly both grass and plants all over town.
This winter's been kind of strange. We had a lot of cold weather early. A lot of those plants will probably come back in the spring. It's a little bit early to be telling. If they start to resprout, they'll probably make it. You could cut all the dead parts off later next month.
So sit tight and deal with it, right?
Pretty much.
I remember you saying that, and I'm trying to tell myself that every day.
What about determining what's dead and what's alive? I mean, obviously, if I bend it and it snaps, it's dead, right?
Yeah, and you can use your fingernail or a pocket knife and scratch the trunk of the plant. If it's green underneath the bark, it's probably still alive.
Okay, and but it's not time to trim it back, so it'll have a chance to come back stronger?
Well, if you cut it back now when we have another very hard freeze, the old foliage and branches can protect the bottom. Mm-hmm. So usually if it gets damaged early in the season, you just want to look at it and go, okay, you're protecting the rest of the plant that way.
All right, and you're talking about planning for your spring stuff and planning your yard. What should we start thinking about planning when spring rolls around?
It's just going to depend on the situation. Right now, roses are starting to come in. If you want a particular rose, we always advise people to get them early because they will run out, and Jackson Perkins went out of business this year.
Good Lord.
So their roses are hit and miss at best. Fruit trees are pretty much the same way. When most nurseries get their fruit trees in, that's all they're going to get for the year.
Well, even when it's too cold to get outside, your garden is still alive and in need of your shadow. You can learn more about caring for and maintaining and helping yours grow at rcwnurseries.com. Mary, thanks for being with us.
You're very welcome.
Rolling down the side of a snow-covered hill. It's growing at the size of a fish that the man